think that my wife accidentally shot herself.
She's gone? Oh, God.
Shut up. Just had it.
Just moments ago, 35 years old Keith found his wife Brandy dead in their bedroom, following a deadly scream. While Keith was trying to detail the events leading up to the shooting, he had no idea that the police had uncovered such damning and terrifying footage, which had captured every movement of the couple right up until Brandy's last moments. And what they saw left them utterly shaken to the core.
And what we saw was some of the most shocking footage that I've ever seen in my entire law enforcement career.
Put fish hooks in that, because it's not worth nothing now. I'm gonna kill you and go back to jail.
It all started on April 7, 2018, when Florida police received a disturbing 911 call around 10:54 a.m. from Keith Johansson, describing an unsettling event.
Do you think she did this to harm herself, or do you think this was accidental? Any idea?
No, I think it's accidental.
Okay, is she breathing? She talking to you, breathing anything?
Yes, she's breathing.
All right. She able to say anything to you?
Baby. Hey. Baby, no. She thinks you'll hear it.
Okay.
I can hear her breathe, though.
Oh, can you apply? Are you applying pressure to that wound?
No, I can't
Find
breathe
yourself.
her like that. I'm wet. I'm sliding on my floors.
You can't apply pressure.
I can't see it. Listen, I got wood floors and I'm sliding. I don't want to risk hurting her or possibly one of the guns going off, too. Please hurry.
We're on our way. They're getting there as fast as they can. All right?
When the police arrived at 23 Felter Lane, they had no idea that the call had barely hinted at the harrowing intensity waiting for them.
Oh, relax.
It's my wife, man.
I got you. You right, bud? It's Brandy Johansson?
Yes.
Spell it.
Johansson.
What's your name, man?
Keith Johansson.
Keith asked them to save his wife Brandy, who was lying unconscious inside. And it all happened when he just went for a shower.
What's going on today?
Nothing.
You guys were talking?
Yeah, man, we got up. I took a shower. Just made her coffee.
Okay. What
And I
time
went
did
to
you guys
take
wake
a
up?
shower. I heard boom, boom, boom. I got out. And she was laying on the floor with guns right next to her. And I was like, no.
Okay.
So I called you guys immediately.
What time did you
Hey,
guys
can
wake
you
up?
come to my house now? Because Brandy accidentally shot herself, and I need someone to get Ryland, and right now.
You guys arguing or anything?
Nothing like that.
Okay. So you got in the shower. How long were you in the shower, would you say?
Maybe 5 minutes.
5 minutes. How many
Balloon.
shots did you hear?
2.
You heard 2?
And I thought it was a balloon at first. Then I heard the secondary shot. And I ran out there and seen her laying there going, so I called you guys immediately.
Without waiting as the police asked Keith some routine questions, he tried to explain what might have happened. Oddly enough, despite claiming he had just stepped out of the shower, he wasn't even slightly wet.
Where was Ryland then?
Ryland was in his room.
He was in his room?
Yeah.
Was he asleep?
He was watching TV, kind of in and out of sleep, yeah.
Okay, so his room is separate from...
It's right next to ours.
Okay, but it's separate from where she was at. She didn't
Correct.
see anything.
No.
As the officers entered the bedroom, they found Brandy lying on the floor between the bed and on the nightstand. They also noticed not one but 2 9mm handguns scattered beside her, which seemed out of place, as they both were exactly facing each other, which didn't make sense for them. However, Brandy sustained 2 gunshot wounds to the chest, but both didn't look like the same type wounds, as if both weren't really shot from the same gun.
What kind of gun is it?
I don't know which one got her. They're both 9mm. One's a Beretta and one's a Mechanic, I believe. Please tell me that you guys can save her.
While Keith and their 6-year-old son Ryland were sitting outside on the front porch, the police gave them the heart-wrenching news that Brandy was gone. Knowing the gravity of the situation, the officers gently took Ryland to a safer place, as he had just lost his mother. Meanwhile, Keith was shattered by his wife's death and couldn't control his tears.
She's gone? Oh, God!
Shut up. Just had it.
You serious? Are you sure?
I don't want nobody to ever have a gun in this family again.
Everyone was stunned, but the police were still trying to make sense of how Brandy, who was 25 years old and mature enough, could have accidentally shot herself twice. They couldn't help but suspect that there was more to the story, something that was being deliberately hidden.
I gotta tell him his mom.
Huh? We're just at this point, we don't want to freak him out any more than what's going on. Okay?
What do I do?
I don't know at this. All right.
Why?
I don't know. That's what we're.
There's no God.
Huh?
There's no God. I don't understand why you do this to us.
When Keith was taken to the police station for questioning, the rest of the family couldn't come to terms with the sudden and heartbreaking loss of their beloved Brandy.
She was a flower girl, loved the trees, just anything outside.
It's so beautiful to be here. I love you guys. Be safe.
Brandy met Keith in 2014, and as their love blossomed, she believed he was the right man for her and her son. After finalizing her divorce in January 2017, she and Keith tied the knot. By 2018, they had built a life together and settled into their new home.
See, this is the backyard, and we got hammocks, and we got another huge hammock. Dude, I love it, because I look up at the trees and see all the squirrels and the birdies.
What should have been a life full of happiness quickly turned into a nightmare. Now Keith was sitting with the detectives, trying to piece every detail of that morning up until Brandy's death. But his cold demeanor didn't align with the emotions he claimed to feel.
I just want to get this out before so I can start to breathe, you know, and I'm starting to really question my faith at this point, you know, and I can't wrap around why it should be taken. I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
I can't wrap my head around it. And it's hard.
And how are the two of us getting along?
Perfect.
Perfect?
Perfect. I just can't, you know. Like, how am I going to live without her? You know what I mean? How am I going to go back to the house?
People grieve in different ways, but at that moment, Keith didn't seem to be much sad or worried about his wife's death, but his only concern was himself. All he could think was, why him? As the chaplain exited the room, Detective Dunton's first focus was to understand the dynamic of the relationship between Keith and Brandy.
Because we don't know you, what we like to do is we like to find out about you, about your life, about your marriage, about everything that's going on, just so that our job is basically to paint a picture of what's going on and what happened.
At the time, Keith was an unemployed husband, living off a lump sum settlement due to an injury. However, Brandy was also unemployed, as Keith had never allowed her to work, and she focused more on her son, Ryland. But as the detectives kept pressing him, something strange caught their attention.
How would you describe your relationship?
The best one that I've had yet. I mean, she was everything that I wanted her to be. Everybody has their problems here and there, yeah, of course.
Okay. So up to today, what would you say was the biggest issue that you guys have in your relationship?
I mean, you know, like we'd have our arguments here and there, stupid little things. But never nothing violent, never nothing too crazy, you know?
Were you guys faithful with one another? Was it just
For the most part, yeah. She had this online thing, you know what I mean, that she admitted to. You know, I've been flirting online, but whoopee, who cares? You didn't do nothing physically.
Keith claimed that Brandy had been sending videos to other people online, and at some time had even engaged in some sort of physical act for pleasure, without telling him about it.
Is there any chance at all that something different happened that you have not told us?
None, because that's what happened. I got no reason to lie to you guys. I mean, you guys are investigators, for God's sake. That's what I seen, and that's what I heard.
That night, a child forensic team was called in who interviewed Ryland, and to their surprise, he had something unexpected to share.
When my mom went to the hospital.
Oh, tell me about that.
My dad was in the shower, my mom was in her bedroom, and she accidentally shot herself. She had a little scream, and then I heard 2 gunshots. And I know it was nobody with her. It was just her.
Did somebody tell you that?
Yeah,
Who told you that?
my dad.
Your dad told you that nobody was with her, it was just her?
Yeah, in her bedroom.
Thank you for telling me that. What else did you hear? I know you said you heard a little scream.
Yeah,
How did you feel when you heard Mommy scream?
I felt sad.
According to Ryland, he had heard his mother's screams followed by a gunshot. How is it possible for someone to scream before an accidental shooting? But when the detectives returned to Keith and questioned him with what Ryland had shared, it didn't take long for him to refute his claims.
I think that we're at the point of where we need to have a little bit of a harder conversation.
Okay.
Because as much as I want to believe that the guns fell and went off and shot her, what we have at the scene just doesn't show that. This is your opportunity to help yourself and to lay it all out for us, because there's a backstory. This isn't the story.
This is the story. And I'll get a lawyer and I will prove that this is the real story.
Okay. And you are completely entitled to that.
Ask Ryland. I mean, that's all that happened.
We did ask him.
Okay.
And you know what he told us? Do you want to know?
Yeah, because I wasn't up.
He told us that he heard his mom scream.
I heard no screams at all. None.
Why would he make that up?
Ask him.
Is he a liar?
He has been known to tell fibs, yes.
Does he tell you on the regular that his mom screams in the bedroom?
No.
Has he ever told you that his mom screams and it was a lie?
No, not screaming, but he lies about a bunch of other different things. You can ask his real father, and he'll tell you that too.
So why on this date would he lie about his mom screaming in the bedroom?
You guys can try to pin whatever you want on me. She didn't scream.
Listen, dude, nobody's trying to pin anything on you.
I'm just telling you what I heard, man. That's it. What I heard, what I seen.
As the interrogation continued, the investigators at the crime scene were still looking for more clues and collecting the firearms. One thing that quickly stood out were the surveillance cameras scattered all over the house, inside, outside, and in nearly every room, offering them the crucial evidence they needed.
Are there any security cameras installed in your bedroom?
Not in the bedroom, no.
Not in the bedroom.
And the rest of them don't work. They're offline because the batteries are off. And I wish they would have been on because that would have been clarifying a lot of this.
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, if something like that, if we would have had that on the video, I cannot even tell you the crazy I have seen on surveillance cameras.
Sure.
It wasn't that easy for the detectives, as when they asked him for access to the footage, he claimed that he didn't know where it was stored or how to access it. However, while at the scene, he was seen nervously fixated on his phone, seemingly doing something, which only fueled their suspicions. Before long, their concerns would prove to be justified, as they doubted Keith still wasn't sitting right with them.
I'm kind of offended.
I feel offended too, if we're going to go to that level.
I feel really offended that you guys can try to pin an accident on me.
No.
Oh, I thought that's what you were getting at with it. I was like,
Not at all.
she's not accepting what I saw and what I heard, and and that makes me feel like I'm getting the injustice now.
Keith's demeanor clearly showed how uncomfortable he was being questioned by a strong woman, a situation that seemed to unsettle him. Being offended, he requested to talk to his parents before continuing, and sensing his unease, the detectives decided to step back and allow him to do so, hoping that the conversation might lead to a confession.
The lawyer? I know. I didn't say you did, but you gotta be prepared for them to try to do that. When there's the main thing, I think, is because it was 2 shots fired. But I I know. I'm not saying you did or didn't. I don't know.
Naked. I'm saying, let me get out of the shower.
Well, that's kind of suspicious too. If you had residue on your hand, you just got out of the shower.
Sure.
Could have washed all that stuff off. Okay, no witnesses.
I mean,
and he'll.
This is what you get for being honest, man.
Well, maybe you're being honest. I'm not saying you are or not. I mean, I'm sure you are, but you still have to understand there's a death involved.
Well,
now listen to me though. Listen to me. If you did do it, I'm just saying. I believe you didn't, but I didn't. But if you did own up to it,
I would have by now.
Well, I'm just telling you, if you did it, you own up to it. It'll be better for you.
But I didn't.
Okay, I believe you.
And if I did, I would own up. I've been honest up to this point.
I understand. I mean, I
they
want you to think I'm trying to blame you, Keith.
I know.
I'm talking you man to man because this is the time to do it.
Sure. But I'm not going to admit to something that I did not do.
Okay.
Even though his parents didn't believe his story, Keith remained firm and refused to take any blame. At this stage, it was hard to hold him accountable for Brandy's death without any solid evidence linking him to the crime. The interrogation ended when he requested an attorney, and he was allowed to leave, free, for the time being. The police had sent the CCTV footage for restoration, but no one knew how long it would take. 2 days after the shooting, the medical examiner performed an autopsy on Brandy's body, and what they found was baffling. The first gunshot wound to her chest had been caused by a rubber bullet. While rubber bullets can cause pain and injury, they're usually used to disable or intimidate someone, rather than to kill. The second shot, however, which took Brandy's life, was fired from a 9mm handgun that entered the right side of her chest with such force that it exited her body and struck the nightstand. When the police asked Keith about the rubber bullets, his explanation was anything but normal. He claimed he often loaded his weapons with 2 non-lethal rubber bullets, followed by a lethal round, just in case he needed to defend himself without killing an intruder. The autopsy also revealed that the shot was fired from about 3 feet away, leading the examiner to officially rule Brandy's death as a homicide. Keith, the once grieving husband, had now become the prime suspect. Finally, after 3 weeks, the CCTV footage arrived on April 27, 2018, and what the detectives discovered was far worse than they had ever seen before.
Yeah, you push a person to either beat or kill you because you're man. Let's see how you can do thing, man. Put fish hooks in that because it's not worth nothing now. Not in my eyes. My eyes, man, you shooter, dude. Multiple times. And only a stupid, cheating scumbag son of a make that same mistake. You the wrong person, dude.
On the evening of April 5th, the couple spent hours in the bedroom where Keith chain-smoked compulsively and unleashed several harsh verbal attacks on Brandy.
That's what made you become a lying, cheating. I will never trust you again. Ever. So you might as well get out of my life. Do yourself a favor. I want to just hurt you and leave you safe. God knows you deserve it. Doing like this, you should have stayed the away from me, man. I don't know who the you think I am. I thought I was. Dude, you up, man. Like bad. It's only a matter of time.
He just continued to threaten his wife while she sat quietly on the bed, either weeping or staring at the wall. He was convinced she was cheating on him, and in his twisted mindset, he felt entitled to unleash his anger on her. But soon, things escalated beyond anyone's control.
You don't care about me.
I do care.
In what way? Yeah, you like me as a father figure, but you don't give a about me.
Yes, I do.
I'm gonna kill you and go back to jail. Maybe make you take some sleeping pills and I'll cut off your quick. I'll go to jail for that.
In a sudden move, Keith went off the deep end and walked to the drawer, pulling out a gun.
You know what? I'm gonna leave it here to haunt you. Maybe one day you will. You wouldn't give a I didn't. You drove me to think about it, man.
After hours of abuse, he grabbed the camera from its place and took it out of the bedroom. Little did he know, the footage it recorded later would expose his dark intentions and change his life forever. On April 7th, the camera captured Brandy in the hall talking to her son Ryland and showering him with love for what would be the last time.
I love you. I do.
She remained calm, oblivious to the fact that this would be the final moment she would ever be seen alive. Shortly after, the camera recorded Keith making the 911 call as he was hurriedly grabbing his jeans, but what he told the dispatcher didn't match what he had actually been doing.
I was in the shower and I heard some gunshots. And I think that my wife accidentally shot herself.
In the 911, he's standing by Brandy, telling her, "Stay with me, babe."
Baby, please stay with us.
And in reality, he's running around the house trying to hide narcotics.
Please hurry, please save her life.
Keith looked more focused on hiding his drugs and getting the house ready for the police to avoid any drug charges than actually helping Brandy. Once the footage surfaced, the detectives had gathered enough evidence to reveal who was truly responsible for Brandy's murder. Keith's perfect plan with the cover of lies fell apart, and he was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. But the story didn't end here, as after the arrest he made a call from the prison to his parents.
What did the lawyer have to say?
You really want to know?
Yeah.
All I can say is with the charges you have, there is no probation, and you're looking at 30 years max, 20 years minimum.
Jesus. Kidding me?
No.
While in prison awaiting his trial, Keith constantly changed his story. At first, he claimed a neighbor had shot Brandy, which led him to start keeping a weapon for protection. Then, he went so far as to accuse his 6-year-old son Ryland of being the one who shot his mother.
What if it was him?
I don't know, Keith, but, you know, he's a little boy.
I know.
All I can say, Keith, is be honest.
I am. I didn't do it. Not to my mind's recollection, I didn't do this then.
Well, you better start searching your mind and recollect one way or the other, because if you keep saying you didn't do it and you did, you're in deep.
None of Keith's changing stories were taken seriously, especially as his troubled past came to light. He had been diagnosed with several mental illnesses, but it was his paranoia and anger issues that had come together to create a deadly mix. Keith had already been to jail for drug charges and abusing a woman, but by the time he met Brandy, he had developed persecutory delusions, making him hyper-vigilant and always carrying a weapon. Now, with all his escape routes closed, Keith faced a tough choice. On October 25, 2021, just before his trial, he was offered a plea deal, 50 years in prison or 25 years to life. He declined both, but the prosecution was also ready for whatever came next.
Our strengths were the video and painting the picture that pretty much every word Keith Johansson said and was not true.
Watching the videos of Keith belittling my sister, it was hard. I just wanted to get up and hug her.
The defense tried to paint Brandy as a drug addict who had been binging for 10 days, claiming she was the one abusing Keith and that he had killed her in self-defense.
I had walked forward to her, trying to disarm her, and, well, I had grabbed my gun, and she lifted it up, and a round went out of my gun on her. Then she cocked and swung as I'm retreating, and another round I pulled off because she was pointing a loaded weapon at me.
To challenge this, the prosecutor called in Miss Dunton to cross-examine Keith as her strong, no-nonsense personality was exactly what he feared, and he didn't know how to handle her questioning.
You were lying 3 to 4 minutes after she was shot when you called 911, correct?
Correct.
Correct. When you told the detectives you were sliding around on the ground and you couldn't get to her, that was a lie.
Well, I was a little bit wet, but that was a lie, yes.
You told the detectives that you didn't have any video cameras in your bedroom. That was a lie.
Yeah.
So you're here now today to tell a story that matches the evidence and ask them to believe that now you're telling the truth.
That's because I am.
That's because you are.
Correct.
Even though you're alive.
That's your opinion.
You lied for 12 hours to law enforcement.
I told you I did.
For 20 days.
If that's what you say.
And today you're selling the trees.
Correct.
No further questions.
Finally, after all the arguments on October 28, 2021, the jury deliberated for just under 3 hours before reaching a verdict.
The jury find the defendant Keith John Johansson as follows to count 1 of the indictment. Guilty as charged as the crime of first-degree murder.
In Florida, that meant life in prison without the possibility of parole, a fitting sentence for Keith, who had relied on control, intimidation, and violence to feed his growing paranoia. In the end, he hadn't just kept Brandy under his control, he had ultimately killed her. What are your thoughts on this case? Was it really just jealousy and paranoia that were the reasons for Keith to kill his wife? Or was there something darker, hidden under the surface? We'd love to hear from you. If there's a case you'd like us to cover, don't hesitate to drop your recommendations in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel Mysterious 7 for more captivating true crime stories. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes peeled for the next mystery to unfold.